But first, a natural disaster made worse by a human failure inside Austin's 911 call center. After long hold times during the flood, KXAN holds Austin police accountable to fix the problem.
For months now, KXAN has shown specific problems during the Halloween flooding that could affect your safety in a future disaster.
Last week, the city of Austin released a report detailing what went right and wrong that night. But as we told you last night, one glaring problem was with 911 wasn't mentioned in the report. Now, Austin's police chief promises to focus on the 911 call center failures. After our reporting this week, Chief Art Acevedo invited KXAN investigator Robert Maxwell to his office to explain the strategy.
And you know, Chief Acevedo told me straight up the decision to leave longer hold time numbers and staffing numbers out of the flood report was deliberate. That's because he says the plan for a new police communications report has been in the works. It'd been in the works for months, well before the flood report was even drafted. The chief says the idea is to shed light on all aspects of the communication division, which includes 911.
911, do you need police, fire, or EMS?
Austin's 911 call center has been understaffed for a decade. That reality came to light in a 2011 audit of the police communications division. Since then, improvements have been so slight and overtime budgets so tight, staff made what sources tell KXAN were desperate decisions. KXAN revealed the police chief approved a 60-day pilot project last June to save overtime costs by cutting back call taker hours. The plan left some callers on hold longer.
My budget is my budget.
So people were left on hold?
People were left on hold, but guess what? We had cops reducing, for a 10-second hold, we had a 50% reduction. I'm just throwing out numbers, I don't remember off the top of my head. A huge reduction in violent crime. It's just a matter of, you got to balance it somewhere.
The chief also confirms the overtime cut plan was mistakenly left in place well beyond the 60 days. As KXAN uncovered, on that October morning when Onion Creek flooded, 911 staffing was lower than it should have been. And the chief says there was no plan to bring in more people.
We failed to have a self-recognition of the threat, and for that, there's only one person who takes responsibility, and that's me. I'm the police chief. I should have been a little bit more proactive.
Some callers were on hold for as long as 2 minutes. For call center staff, the flood served as a red flag. For years, they've made pleas with police management to make staffing and training a priority. The chief won't say, though, where that will rise in the annual police budget package he'll send to the city manager's office this spring.
And the chief's new communications report is also expected to address concerns of call takers quitting or burning out due to mandatory stay-over shifts and what some people call a stressful workplace. Of course, you can count on KXAN to continue investigating Austin's 911 call center and whether you can continue to rely on it for your family's safety. Robert?
Well, when you talk about cuts to overtime, how can they justify that in terms of public safety?
It's a fair question, but what they made sure to do when they reduced those overtime schedules was to still exceed national standards, which are specifically to make sure that 90% of calls are answered within 10 seconds, and that's something that they say they were upholding.
Okay, Robert, thanks very much. This is an issue Robert Maxwell has been following for months now here on KXAN. You can see our previous stories in this ongoing investigation right now at our website, kxan.com.
Looking deeper now, Chief Acevedo says his report will also examine another problem, the software that runs the 911 dispatch system. The Capital Area Council of Governments installed the $5 million Solacom software in October. But here's the problem, it continues to crash. Just this past Friday night, sources tell KXAN 20 callers were left on hold when the system rebooted itself. Others just hung up. And this is not the first time either. Remember, in December, Austin's 911 call server failed while the backup system was shut down for maintenance. The department had to transfer most calls to Round Rock, Pflugerville, and Williamson County 911.